in the roadmap though. So going to the next interface, now I believe one of you had a question about outbound campaigns or say outbound based messages. So this is something that we call as the publisher view. So this is something similar to the concept of outbound campaigns, sending out bulk SMSs, sending out bulk emails. So what exactly we can do here is that you can add how many ever Facebook pages or Twitter pages or even third-party forum pages or even LinkedIn as well. So you can add all those pages wherever you would like to communicate a basic, say, an announcement or a message about your new product or a new offer, anything at all. So you can compose a short message and then you can drag and drop images. It's as easy as that. You're basically creating an advertising picture here. So we haven't left out the marketing bit altogether. We are actually going to help marketing team as well in this. So you are going to be able to draft messages, you can upload images, you can drag and drop pictures, and you can schedule them. So say in the example of a bank, you're going to there's a new ATM branch coming up next week. You can just schedule the message to be tweeted or posted on that particular day. So this is the publisher view. And not just that, it just doesn't stop with publishing the message over those pages that you defined. You can also again measure the response. So measurement, right? Contact center initiative. So you're going to be able to measure the number of followers, the number of tweets for that brand, for that particular message, how many retweets, how many shares, what are the comments that coming over this particular post that you did. So that's measurable as well. And last but not the least, the manager interface or the supervisor's interface. So apart from every conversation, every response by the agent, the SLA details for a conversation, all of this is going to be available for the supervisor. And apart from this, you also have certain graphics to help you understand if we are actually aligned to our agent metrics, if we are actually aligned to our KPIs and goals. So what you see here on the right-hand side, it's just a very, very overall performance statistics graph. So this is just to help you understand, say, how many work groups are there, how many were closed, how many conversations were closed today, how many were open, and so on and so forth. So you can do this for, say, both in real time and historical reporting as well. So you want it for, what we have is for the last 15 days. You can have it for, say, last 60 days, and say just for the 1 week or just for today. You can pull out reports for that. And we have something called as what, we call it as the social 6 statistics. So this is going to give you the typical contact center metrics like time to agent response. Very important. So what is the average response time for the agent? Not just in the case of voice calls. Let's measure it in the case of social media as well. So time to agent response, how many responses were per day, how many were closed today, queue backlog, and yes, last but not the least, customer satisfaction. So all of these would be available to the supervisor, so you can have both real-time and historical reporting on one interface itself. You don't have to have separate tools for them. Any questions on these snapshots?
How do you measure the customer satisfaction?
Okay, this is an inbuilt algorithm, so it's not based on surveys. I think that's where you're coming from. So from the surveys that you're sending out, we are not going to get the customer scores from there, but this is something that's based on the SLAs that you define. So
you assume that the customer is not.
We don't assume. So you will be defining the SLA. So you will define that if the time to agent response crosses a certain number of time, then mark it as overdue, and that's something we need to look into. So based on the previous 5 metrics over here, responses per agent, closing time, time to agent response, the CSAT scores are relevant to that. It's not something that we capture from the surveys, although we could do that. But this, what I'm showing here from the tool, is based on the algorithm that's built to actually calculate on those metrics. Okay, so this is the last slide, and we can have more questions after that. So finding the ROI in social media. So we already know why it's important. We already know that it's a channel that cannot be ignored. But once you do, make an investment, like I said, it's as of today, you don't exactly just bring it right into the contact center and say, and tell your agents, okay, now start responding to them over Facebook and Twitter. But yes, you have a phased social media project. I hear that term, a phased social media project, from a lot of prospects. So what kind of business benefits can we see? Okay, let's begin with very basic stuff like, okay, so the first thing that anyone would do if they have a question or any doubt is, we would immediately take our phones and we would Google it. We would ask our friends on Facebook and Twitter. We don't exactly look for the toll-free number on the website and, call into the contact center. That doesn't happen. So the first thing that we do is, access social media platforms. And yes, we are doing it via our peers. We are doing it, over Facebook, Twitter. We are doing it, say, over user forums that we are logged into. But yes, I still use Google. But yes, we would eventually get there. So call deflection. So if your customer gets answers on Facebook and Twitter, he is not going to have a reason to actually call into the contact center. And that would actually mean utilization, the optimization of resources for you. You're going to divert all those calls on your toll-free number. And imagine the savings that you can make on that number. So ultimately what we are looking at is that, so deflecting calls from the toll-free number, you can service much more important questions. You can, reserve that for the more important and more sensitive issues. Personal interaction is definitely needed, in most of the issues, but something as simple as, like say, hey, what are your latest interest rate? What kind of options can I have? It makes more sense for us to actually engage them right over Facebook and Twitter and not have them, call into the contact center. They might be waiting on a long time, and you never know, they might lose interest and they might go to another competitor. So, drive down service costs. So something again that's tied to deflecting calls. So data rates are any day cheaper than voice rates. So you're going even for the end customer as well. So as opposed to calling into the contact center, or say you receiving calls on your toll-free number, if they just contact you or Facebook or Twitter, that's going to cost way lesser than actually having a voice call in place. Increased CSAT and Net Promoter Scores, of course. A very effective way of measuring this would be, you can always tie your CSAT link along with the Aspect Social conversations that you have, because the response is instant, right? So when you do respond the next minute for certain questions, they might be really happy and they might, fill up the survey right there. We see so many surveys coming on Facebook and Twitter, like, what did I eat this morning? So I'm sure, there are some people out there just to fill up surveys, and they would do so if they're really happy about this. So in case of having that in place, you can see increased CSAT scores, as opposed to, having, say, a voice call. You have a voice call and then later you send, or an email, and then much later you send out a customer satisfaction survey. Just tie it to the conversation that you're doing and you might get an instant response. You never know. Customer retention and loyalty. The customer involvement is going to be 10 times more here in case of social media. So let's look at this from, from the customer's perspective, or even from our perspective. So say we are really happy about something, we got something we wanted just within a few minutes. The brand responded to us within a very short period of time. We are immediately going to tweet about it. Maybe we won't fill up the survey, but we'll immediately tweet about it. Great service, I really like what you did. So imagine the visibility that particular post is going to have. How many of your customers, how many of your other customers, how many of that users, other friends are going to actually see that post? Okay, so my friend actually says that this is good, maybe I should try it too. Would you be able to do that in the case of a voice call or say email or web chat? No. That visibility is going to be available only on social media. They are your unpaid brand ambassadors on social media. So this is very key here. I would say that that is possibly the best ROI that we can actually have in terms of the customer satisfaction and customer loyalty. The involvement, of course, it has a negative side to it as well. If they're not so happy with the service, then again, that will have a larger visibility, but we should exploit it to our advantage. So that brings us to the end of Aspect Social presentation. I hope it was informative. I hope you do have a better idea of what Aspect Social has to offer for social media engagement now.
Thank you very much for your time and attention. Again, the feedback forms, when you go out, give it to the ushers. They'll give you a gift. We're also going to email out the presentations on our website, probably, Janta, 2 weeks from now. I'm sure everyone wants a presentation, so we'll get it to you in an email to make sure that you can download it as well.